Hi grade 9 students! In this video lesson, we are going to discuss about multiplication of radicals. Our objective: perform the multiplication of radicals. Let us recall first the multiplication property of radicals. Like the nth root of A times the nth root of B equals the nth root of AB, wherein our n is the index, A and B are the radicand. A and B, minumultiply natin sila. That's why we have here nth root of AB. Multiplying a monomial by a monomial radicals. So we will have here examples. Number 1, square root of 5 times square root of 20. That is square root of 100. And what is square root of 100? Of course, that is 10. So we need to simplify our answer, and our answer is 10. Number 2, the cube root of 3 times the cube root of 9. So, since pareho sila ng index, magkaiba ang radicand, we'll just copy the index, multiply the radicand, that is 27, and the cube root of 27 is 3. 3 times 3, 9 times 3 is 27. So, the cube root of 27 is 3. Our final answer is 3. Next, 3 square root of 5 times 2 square root of 6. 3 and 2 are our numerical coefficient of the radical. So, we will multiply 3 times 2. That's give us 6. And multiply the radicand, which is 5 and 6. And we have 6 square root of 30. So, 6 square root of 30. 30 from 5 times 6. 3 and 2, that is equal to 6. So, this is our final answer. Our final answer, because there's no other factors of 30, wherein one factor is a perfect square. So, walang ibang factor. So, final answer na natin yan siya. We'll proceed to number 4. The square root of 10x times the square root of 5. So, magkapareha yung index, multiply the radicand, that is square root of 50x. And we all know that 50 has a factor wherein one factor is a perfect square. So, ano yung factors na 50 na ang isang factor perfect square? That is 25 and 2. So, hanapin natin yung square root ng 25. That is 5. So, ilabas natin yung si 5. Since ito 2x, wala siyang square root, naiwan siya as our radicand. So, ang ating final answer is 5 square root of 2x. We'll proceed to number 5 example. 3 square root of 15a times 4 square root of 5a. So, the same pa rin. We will multiply the coefficient 3 and 4. That gives us 12. And multiply the radicand. 15a times 5a. So, 15 times 5, that is equal to 75. Then, a times a is a squared. Ngayon, si 75, may factor siya na perfect square. So, ano yung factor ni 75 na isang factor perfect square? That is 25 and 3. So, asan galing si 12 dito? From 3 and 4. So, piyahin natin si 12. Then, i-factor natin si 75. So, naging 25 times 3. Then, copy the a squared. Then, hanapin natin ang square root sa 25. That is 5. So, naging 12 times 5. Bakit si a nasa labas na siya? So, we all know that our index here is 2. Then, our exponent is 2. So, 2 divided by 2 divided by our index, that is 1. So, pwede na nating ilabas si a squared. So, maging a siya. Then, naiwan si 3. So, iiwan si 3 as our radical or radical. And what is our final answer? That is 60a square root of 3. Bakit si 60? Because 12 times 5 is 60. Then, kopyahin si a, kopyahin si square root of 3. So, this is our final answer. Now, we will proceed to multiplying a monomial by a polynomial radicals. So, meaning mono, isa lang. One term. Polynomials, marami. So, example number 1. Square root of 2 times square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 5. So, si monomial is si square root of 2. And ito yung polynomial natin. So, by using the distributive property, we can multiply this radicals here. So, since magkapareho yung index, 2 times 3 gives us 6, or we have square root of 6. Then, we'll now may 1 dito. Coefficient na 1 si square root of 2. 1 times 2, that is 2. Then, asan galing si square root of 10? From 2 times 5. So, 2 times 5 is square root of 10. So, ngayon, magkaiba man sila ng radical, hindi natin ma-add. So, this is our final answer. Now, we will proceed to number 2 example. The square root of x times 2 square root of x minus 3 square root of 2. What do you think is our product? So, still, we will use the distributive property. So, we have, may 1 man si square root of x, di ba? May coefficient siya na 1. 1 times 2, that is 2. Then, x times x, that is x squared. So, nakuha. Again, 1, may 1 dito. 1 times 2, 2. Then, x times x, x squared. Ngayon, may 1 again. 1 times negative 3, that is negative 3. Then, x, or square root of x times square root of 2, that is 2x. This is not yet our final answer because we can simplify the square root of x squared. And that would be 2x. Bakit naging x na lang? So, again, our index here is 2. Cancel the index, cancel the exponent. And we have here 2x. Then, since 3 square root of 2x, hindi na siya ma-simplify, we will just copy. And this is our final answer. Next, number 3. Square root of 5 times square root of 3 minus 2 square root of 3. So, the same pa rin, we will use the distributive property. Multiply the radicand by radicand. So, 5 times square root of 3, that is square root of 15. Then, again, si 5 dito, may coefficient na 1. So, 1 times 2, that is 2. And 5, square root of 5 times square root of 3, that is square root of 15. Ngayon, so napansinin nyo, magkapariha yung radical nila. So, we will recall our previous lesson which is about addition and subtraction of radicals. Since magkapariha yung radical nila, we can add these two terms or subtract. So, 1 may 1 dito, di ba? 1 minus 2, that is negative 1. And we will just copy the square root of 15. And this is our final answer. Number 4. 2 square root of 6 times 2 square root of 10 minus 3 square root of 6 plus square root of 2. The same, we will use the distributive property. So, again, examine the example. They have the same index, but different radical. We can simplify or multiply this by distributive property. So, 2 times 2, multiply the coefficient by the coefficient. So that is 4. Then why we have here 60? From 6 times 10, 60. Then 2 times 3, negative 3, that is negative 6. And 6 times 6, that is square root of 36. Then 2, may invisible na 1 dito. Invisible na 1. 2 times 1, that is 2. Then 6 times 2, square root of 6 times square root of 2, that is square root of 12. So, may ano na tayo? May ganito na. Ngayon, we will look for, we all know that this 60, may factor siya na perfect square. And 36 is a perfect square. 12, may factor siya na perfect square. So, we are going to simplify. So, we have 4, the factors of 60 wherein one factor is a perfect square is 4 times 15. 4 times 15 is 60. Then 6, kopyahin natin si 6 dito. Asan galing si 6 na ito? From the square root of 36. Then, kopyahin natin si 2. Ayan. Then, factors of 12, wherein one factor is a perfect square, that is 4 and 3. Next, bakit may 2 here? From the square root of 4. So, 4 times 2 times square root of 15. Minus 36, why minus 36? From 6 times 6. Then, again, sa 2, then the square root of 4, so we have 2 times 2 square root of 3. And our simplified form, we have 8 square root of 15. Why 8? Because 4 times 2 is 8. Then copy the square root of 15. Then negative 36 plus 4. 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. Then square root of 3. Our final answer is, i-arrange lang natin to siya. Naging negative 36 plus 8 square root of 15 plus 4 square root of 3. Next is multiplying a polynomial radical expression. So, polynomial by a polynomial. Now, let us recall the FOIL method used for multiplying by two binomials. So, we have here binomials A plus B times C plus D. So, when we say FOIL method, it means first, outer, inner, and last. Ano yung mga first terms natin? That is A and C. A times C. Then, our outer term, A times D. Our inner term, ito, B times C. And our last term, that is A times, B times D. So, B times D ang ating last term. Now, we will proceed to this example. Multiply square root of 3 plus 1 times square root of 3 minus 2. So, of course, since it is a binomial, multiplying a binomial by a binomial radical, we will use the FOIL method. So, what are our first terms? So, our first terms are square root of 3 times square root of 3. So, this is the first term. Next, the outer term, the O. We have here square root of 3 times negative 2 or negative 2 times square root of 3. So, this is O. Next is the inner term. Square root of 3 times 1. That is the inner term. And the last term is 1 times negative 2. So, this is now our last term or the FOIL method. Then, we will operate. What is square root of 3 times square root of 3? That is square root of 9. Ang square root ng 9 is 3. Then, we have 2 square root of 3, negative 2 square root of 3, plus square root of 3. Why? This is equal to square root of 3 only. Minus 2. And what is our final answer? Our final answer is 1 minus square root of 3. Bakit 1? 3 minus 2 is 1. Then, bakit naging negative square root of 3? Because negative 2 plus 1, that is negative 1 square root of 3, or just negative square root of 3. So, this is our final answer. We'll proceed to number 2 example. Square root of 2 minus 3 times square root of 2 plus 1. Still, we will be using the FOIL method. So, first, we have 2 times 2. Ito siya. Square root of 2 times square root of 2, that is square root of 4. Then, outer. Square root of 2 times 1. So, 1 square root of 2. Inner. Negative 3 times square root of 2, that is negative 3 square root of 2. Then, the last terms. Negative 3 times 1, that is negative 3. Then, we will simplify. 2, because from the square root of 4. Then, bakit naging negative 2 square root of 2? Because 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Then, we have here negative 3. Then, we will simplify this. 2 minus negative 3, that is negative 1. We will just copy this negative 2 square root of 2 because wala siyang partner. And this is our final answer. Next, number 3. Square root of 3 minus square root of 5 times 2 square root of 2 minus square root of 10. So, again, binomial by binomial. So, first terms, square root of 3 times 2 square root of 2. So, we have 2 square root of 6. Why 6? 3 times 2 is 6. Outer. Square root of 3 times square root of 10 or negative 10. So, we have negative square root of 30. Then, inner. So, square root of 5 times 2 square root of 2. So, maging 2 square root of 10. 5 times 2 is 10. Next, square root of 50. Why square root of 50? Because 5 times 10 is 50. Then, we will examine this answer if may mga terms ba na pwede pa i-simplify. So, may isang term na pwede i-simplify, that is square root of 50. So, we have 2 square root of 6 minus square root of 30 minus 2 square root of 10 minus 25 times 2. That is 50. So, ang factor ng 50 is R 25 times 2. And we all know that 25 is a perfect square, di ba? So, ilabas natin square root ni 25. So, copy 2 square root of 6, square root of 30, negative 2 square root of 10, and then 5 here coming from the square root of 25. Then, copy the square root of 2. Iwan si 2 sa radical. So, since each term hindi na siya pwede ma-combine, wala nang factor, di pwede ma-combine, so this is our final answer for this two binomials, the product of these two binomials. Next is your activity wherein you are going to answer these radicals here. So, multiply these following radicals. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Good luck, grade 9 students!